Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be attempting the Megan Fox Transformers makeup look. I was trying super hard to get this video out before Halloween, but I had some complications, but you know what? That's life, baby. So I'm gonna upload this now, so stay tuned for the tutorial. So first, I'm gonna start off with the brows. I'm gonna use a lip liner to fill in my brows. I'm gonna give myself an arch just because I want to give that very fierce, cutthroat look that Megan Fox naturally gives. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a spoolie and blend out the starts of my brows just to give me that kind of 2016, 2017 ombre effect. And then I'm going to go ahead and carve the bottoms of my brows with some concealer. This is the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, the hydrating one. Then I'm just taking a damp beauty sponge and blending the rest of that out and setting it with a little bit of translucent powder. And then I'm going to take my foundation and start carving out the tops of my brows, remembering to keep that arch just so we can give fierce, like, uppy. This is a dupe for the e.l.f. Halo Glow. It's from the brand called Catrice. I'm not quite sure what it's called in particular because it rubbed off, but I actually really like it. And I'm just carving out the tops of my brows, and then I'm going to blend that out with the beauty sponge and start going in with some eyeshadow. I'm first taking my bronzer. This is just a illuminating pressed powder from Morphe, and I'm just putting it in my crease and just kind of blending it out. I want this look to get very bronzy because that's the vibe. So I'm just taking some bronzer as my first transition shade, and then I'm taking a darker brown from the Morphe palette, and I'm going to just deepen that crease some and give me more dimension. This is just the Flickering Sands 12 Pan Chroma Plus Morphe palette. I love it. It's my go-to. But just deepening that crease and adding more dimension for sure. Then going back in with that bronzer shade on the bigger brush just to blend that out. And then I'm just going to take that dark brown again and kind of do like a mock version of liner, but with eyeshadow and kind of like winging it out towards the end just slightly and only going halfway. Next, I'm going to add some black eyeshadow on my waterline and on my tight line just to deepen the look and give more sultry vibes. And then we're going to jump into the face. I'm using my La Roche-Posay Double Repair Moisturizer to moisturize and prep for foundation. Sometimes I use primer, but I didn't use primer today. I'm going to jump right into foundation. This is that same Catrice dupe for the e.l.f. Halo Glow. I love this foundation. It's super lightweight, but it's so bronzy and dewy. It just looks very sun-kissed, and this is like the perfect foundation for this look. I'm also blending it in on my damp beauty sponge just to add, just to make it easier to blend and add more of that dewiness. I'm next going in with some concealer, but not too much, just a little bit. And this is the e.l.f. Halo Glow. What? e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I'm going to put it under my eyes and just blend it out with that same beauty sponge. When it comes to concealer, I'm quickly finding out that less is more, which is tea, because I don't want to use too much anyways. But now I'm going to set that area with some translucent powder. This is the One Size Beauty translucent powder. I love it. On this tiny Morphe brush, I'm just setting in the places I want to be matte, like my under eyes. I'm being very strategic with where I put the powder because this is a very dewy, glossy, wet, sweaty type of look. So I'm not going to put it everywhere, just slightly in certain areas. And then I'm going to take that bronzer brush from earlier that we used on our eyes just to blend out the underneath of my eye. Now for bronzer, I'm going to take this liquid type of bronzer from NYX. It's the NYX Buttermilk Glaze in a deeper shade. I'm not quite sure what the shade is. I'm just going to use this to bronze up my face, especially on my forehead area. It has a really nice dewy finish, which is what I'm going for today. Oh, not the hair. Oh, okay. Anyways, and we're just gonna apply it and bronze up because that's totally the vibe, babe. Now I'm gonna take that same bronzer and I'm gonna put it on my cheeks, because this is where the blush is naturally at on her face in the Transformers movie. It's kind of like a sunburnt vibe. So this is the placement of where I'm putting the blush / bronzer. And I'm going to set with the One Size Beauty setting spray Until Dawn. Going back in to just set certain places I don't want to be too dewy, which is right here under my eyes, but Yeah, and then I'm gonna go in with some orange, an orange shade from the Morphe Flickering Sands palette, just to start the layering of blushes we're gonna put on. And trust me, babe, this look is all about the dewiness, the bronziness, the oranges, and we're gonna layer so many blushes on top of each other, but that's the vibe. I'm gonna put it on my cheeks and my nose, forehead, chin, everywhere pretty much. And I'm just once again setting in certain areas. This is just like a back and forth game of playing with different colors, different settings, different dewiness, everything. I'm gonna go in with this orange Morphe blush palette just to start off with everything. I'm using the cream in the palette to build my desired shade. Literally putting it everywhere. Using a cream is going to help with that dewy, sweaty look, and that's totally what we're going for. So this is just starting the whole back and forth game for sure. Then I'm taking a red and kind of going on top of that a little bit and repeating the same process. Cheeks, nose, giving me that sunburnt type of vibe for sure. Forehead, chin, pretty much everywhere. And then I'm going back in with my bronzer just to bronze up the face a little bit more. Mixing the tones of browns and oranges and reds is really the vibe here. Next, I'm taking a small brush just to contour my nose, and I'm using that same bronzer from Morphe just to kind of get a more defined type of look. And then I'm going to also give myself that little button at the top as well. And then I'm going to define it further with a brown lip liner from Morphe just to further that definition I'm looking for, and then blending it with my fingers. And then once again, the back and forth game starts again, just blending. And then I'm going to take this tiny, I'm using a brow definer to put on fake freckles. I'm dipping it in this creamy stick contour to give myself some freckles. I'm just matching where I put the lines of contour on my nose and then fizzling it out onto like the inner parts of my cheeks. Once again, giving myself that little sunburnt type of vibe. Dipping back into that Morphe Flickering Sands palette, I'm taking the black just to add some more black into my waterline and into the eye look. Then going back in with that bronzer brush to blend the bottom. Okay, the tongue is actually crazy. Anyways, and then I'm taking that brush we used to add our cream products on top of the lid just to add that sweaty look again. And then I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes and prep them for mascara and falsies. I'm using this half magic mascara to apply to my real lashes, and then on the outer edge I'm just going to take two little individual lash clusters just to add more volume towards the end and give me more of a cat eye type of vibe. Still adding more blush, LOL, but I'm going to go ahead and add those lash clusters. And then to add more of that dewy, sweaty look, I'm going to take some highlighter and put it on my cheeks and other places I want to highlight and look more dewy, like my nose, nose bridge, forehead, chin, and all those areas. Once I finish that, I'm going to go ahead and I've already applied the lash clusters towards the end. I'm going to mix them with or blend them in with my real lashes using some mascara, and I'm also going to curl them as well. Now let's go on to lips. I'm going to use this Morphe lip liner. I'm not sure the shade. Guys, I'm so sorry. I need to start writing this stuff down. But I'm going to fill in line my lips with this lip liner, and then I'm going to play with different shades to try and achieve her lip look. I first went in with some liquid blush from e.l.f. in a peachy type of shade, and then I just went in with a bunch of different pinks trying to get her shade. It didn't really work out, but you know what? We tried, babe. And then lastly, to further that dewy look, I'm going to set with the e.l.f. Power Grip. Love this setting spray so much. And then I also added a lip gloss, by the way, to top everything off. And this is the final look. I love it so much. I think it's super cute. I am really happy with the way it turned out. Comment down below what you guys thought about it. Also, you don't see my lace and you don't see the big ass hump on my head as well. Illy, love you. Thank you so much for watching, my loves. Mwah.